Jacob Fatu's return to WWE television on SmackDown was one of those moments that instantly electrified the wrestling world. For months, speculation had circled about when and how he would debut on the main roster. Fans had been waiting for a surprise like this, a jolt to the storylines that felt fresh and unpredictable. When his music hit and he walked out to confront Drew McIntyre, you could sense the energy in the arena shift. It wasn't just another returning wrestler moment, it felt like the beginning of something much bigger. The kind of rivalry that could carry a show, spark debates online, and redefine careers for both men involved. To really understand why Jacob Fatu's surprise return is such a big deal, you need to look at both the context of his character and the place Drew McIntyre currently occupies in WWE's storytelling landscape. Drew McIntyre has been on a fascinating run. He's gone from being the hero of the pandemic era, the man who carried the WWE Championship during one of the strangest times in history, to someone fans view with mixed feelings. He's still respected, still one of the most physically imposing and technically reliable wrestlers on the roster, but his character has been searching for an edge. Some of his recent feuds have felt like reruns, and while he remains a top-tier star, there's been a lingering sense that he needs the right opponent to bring out the best in him again. Enter Jacob Fatu, a man with raw charisma, physical dominance, and an aura that feels different from anything else on SmackDown. Fatu's presence is intimidating. He's a member of the legendary Inoue family, the same bloodline that has produced Roman Reigns, the USOs, Rikishi, and countless others. The wrestling world has long known his capabilities from his time outside WWE, where he carved out a reputation for being one of the most explosive and believable performers in the business. He blends agility with brute force in a way that very few big men can. That's why his arrival isn't just about adding another body to the roster, it's about adding someone who instantly feels like a main event level talent. The way WWE chose to bring him in tells you everything you need to know about how highly they view him. They didn't introduce him with weeks of vignettes or teases. They didn't feed him to a mid-carder for a soft landing. Instead, they threw him directly into the path of Drew McIntyre, a former world champion and one of the company's most established stars. That decision signals confidence. WWE wants Jacob Fatu to make an immediate impact, and what better way than by cutting off McIntyre mid-promo, laying him out, and announcing himself as a force to be reckoned with. The reaction from fans online was immediate and intense. Social media lit up with clips of the segment, with many praising WWE for finally pulling the trigger on a debut that felt both shocking and meaningful. Wrestling is at its best when it catches people off guard, when you genuinely don't know what's coming next. Jacob Fatu's return had that exact energy. For some fans, it brought back memories of classic debuts and invasions, the kind of moments that live forever in highlight reels. But beyond the excitement, there's the question of what this feud actually means for the future. McIntyre has been rumored for another major push, perhaps even another run at the world title. To get there, he needs rivalries that test him, rivalries that make fans care again about whether he wins or loses. Jacob Fatu provides exactly that. He's not a heel that fans are tired of. He's fresh, he's unpredictable, and he brings credibility. Beating him will matter. Losing to him will sting. Either way, McIntyre finds himself in a story that fans actually want to follow. And from Fatu's perspective, this rivalry is the perfect launchpad. Too often, new stars are brought in with little direction, left to flounder against random opponents until fans stop caring. By targeting McIntyre, he skips the line and immediately places himself in the upper echelon of talent. It's a sink or swim situation, but for someone with his skill set and background, it's exactly the kind of challenge he thrives on. The more fans see him go toe-to-toe with McIntyre, the more they'll recognize that this is not just another debuting superstar, this is someone destined for big things. There's also the larger family storyline looming in the background. Jacob Fatu is a cousin to Roman Reigns and the USOs, which automatically creates intrigue about where his allegiances lie. Will he be tied into the Bloodline saga, a storyline that has dominated WWE for years? Or will he carve out his own path, setting himself apart from the family drama and establishing his own kingdom on SmackDown? WWE hasn't given us answers yet, but by pairing him with McIntyre, they've given themselves options. If they want to eventually merge his story with the Bloodline, they can. If they want to keep him separate, this feud is strong enough to stand on its own. Drew McIntyre, of course, plays his role perfectly in situations like this. His size and intensity make him a believable opponent for anyone. He's not someone who can be bullied easily, so watching him clash with Jacob Fatu promises a series of matches filled with raw physicality. Fans know McIntyre can take a beating, and they know Fatu can deliver one. That combination makes for compelling television. You can already imagine the spots: Fatu flipping through the air with his signature moves, McIntyre countering with his devastating Claymore kick, the two men trading heavy shots in matches that feel less like performances and more like fights. And let's not forget the promo battles. McIntyre has become more comfortable on the mic over the years, especially when he's allowed to lean into a more serious, no-nonsense style. Jacob Fatu, Meanwhile, doesn't need to be overly polished. His raw energy and street-tough presence do most of the talking for him. When he speaks, it feels authentic. Pairing that with McIntyre's intensity creates the potential for promos that actually feel heated rather than scripted. Fans don't just want athletic matches, they want rivalries that feel personal. And this one has the ingredients to deliver. As this storyline develops, expect layers to be added. Maybe Fatu attacks McIntyre backstage to assert dominance. Maybe McIntyre fights back by targeting Fatu in matches against other stars. The feud could escalate into no disqualification brawls, backstage chaos, and eventually a pay-per-view showdown, depending on how long WWE wants to stretch it. This could easily be a months-long rivalry, culminating in a high-profile match at one of the major events like Survivor Series or even WrestleMania. The real question is how WWE chooses to book the outcome. Do they have McIntyre stand tall, re-establishing him as a dominant force on the way back to the world title picture? Or do they let Fatu score a huge upset, instantly legitimizing him as a main event threat? Either way, the result will send a message. If Fatu wins, it tells fans that WWE is fully invested in making him a star right away. If McIntyre wins, it reminds everyone that he's still the standard-bearer of SmackDown, someone who won't be pushed aside easily. Behind the scenes, there's also intrigue about how Fatu will adjust to WWE's environment. Coming from the independent scene, where he had more creative freedom, to WWE's structured system is not always an easy transition. But the company clearly believes he has what it takes. They wouldn't put him in this spot otherwise. Reports suggest that many within WWE have been pushing for his debut for months, believing that his blend of size, speed, and family legacy makes him a can't-miss talent. His return is proof that those voices were heard. The fan reaction will play a huge role in determining where this story goes next. If the crowd continues to react strongly every time Fatu appears, WWE will have no choice but to keep him in prominent positions. If he and McIntyre can deliver in the ring, the feud could elevate both men. For McIntyre, it's a chance to prove that he still has the ability to carry top-tier rivalries. For Fatu, it's an opportunity to announce himself to a global audience that may not have followed his career before WWE. The symbolism of their clash shouldn't be overlooked either. McIntyre represents the established WWE star, the proven main eventer, while Fatu represents the next generation of dominance, someone hungry to claim his place. It's a classic wrestling dynamic, the old guard versus the new threat. Fans love that narrative because it taps into the real-life cycle of wrestling. No one stays on top forever, and there's always someone new waiting to take their spot. So, when Jacob Fatu stood face-to-face with Drew McIntyre on SmackDown, it wasn't just about one night's surprise. It was about setting the stage for weeks, maybe months, of storytelling that could redefine both of their careers. McIntyre has his fire back, thanks to an opponent who actually feels dangerous. Fatu has his platform, a chance to prove to the world that he belongs on the biggest stage of them all. Together, they've created a rivalry that fans can invest in, one that feels unpredictable, intense, and real. Moments like these are rare in wrestling, and that's why they matter. The debut of Jacob Fatu against Drew McIntyre didn't just surprise fans, it reignited excitement for what's to come. And as this feud plays out, one thing is certain: neither man will leave it the same as they entered. That's the power of a great rivalry, and it looks like WWE just stumbled into one of its most compelling in years.